All right, let's get this camera turned around here. All right, how you guys doing? This is the Red Pill here with the Red Pill News Dispensary. Just checking in and right now, just say hello and I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. I guess no matter where in the country, I was looking at a channel I highly recommend. Like if you want like a 6 day, 16-day forecast or a forecast where it's coming from somebody with the knowledge of your local meteorologist, yet the skepticism and realness of a truther. I suggest Mike Morales, Richie from Boston, buddy. Him, and this great. So, but anyways, the reason I mentioned him is just I was looking at a station, and it looks like all across the country, for the most part, there's one or two areas that aren't having the greatest day, but it's just a beautiful day. I mean, let's look at these skies, blue skies. Now, just to let you guys know, we are in a Boston. You can call it a suburb. I mean, it looks like a suburb. I mean, if you look around, it looks like a suburb. Just and the reason I keep going back to this tower, that's actually where I work. At the bottom of that tower is where I work. Oh, actually, I should actually change that. That's where I started where I work. We have since moved to, I'm not going to say exactly where, but more towards the, you guys have probably heard of Dorchester from some of the gangster movies. And it's so funny. All the Charlestown, Dorchester, anyone from Boston will tell you this. All these places, they're such gangster places, and they breed these tough men. Yeah, in the '80s and '90s, and maybe even early 2000s at the very latest, and now it's just Yuppieville. Um, you know, um, for instance, I'm gonna pretend I'm recording myself, but I'm gonna put the camera the other way. This guy, like, he's like, I don't mean to like sum him up just by him walking down the street, but for instance, like, this guy, he is not from here. I'll tell you that much. He is not from here. He's just not. It's just the way it is these days here in Boston. Woburn, URN. That is actually where a lot of my family, who of course has nothing to do with me as far as, because I'm poor, whereas they actually like own Dunkin' Donuts, which is a huge thing in Boston. Nobody goes to work, school, or even moves out of bed without having Dunkins or being on their way to Dunkins. But no, not near Woburn. That's more north Metro Boston. Um, yeah, Woburn. And Woburn the thing is, even though they're kind of like suburb, Woburn is still like it's one of those like strongholds of neighborhood. Basically, all of Boston has the same toughness, but as far as Woburn, what you're talking about, Woburn is one of those places that, despite being a prime spot for real estate, as a community, they have made sure to keep their identity. I can't say the same for my hometown. You watch the movie The Town, for instance. That's all about Charlestown and places like that, Somerville. That's more so if you want to see a movie about like how and where I grew up. I guess it would be The Town, but it's all been sold out. It's just it's prime real estate. It's all been sold out. They knocked all these abandoned buildings and made them into these lofts that are just. I mean, forget about 2000, like I was complaining in another video about where I live, what the rent is. Not that I can afford that. Thank God I'm a veteran, or else I wouldn't be living there. They helped me out so that I'm only paying a portion of that. But like in Woburn, in Charlestown, rent would be $5,000 to $6,000, $6,000. You guys have heard of the Bunker Hill Monument. It's kind of like in Good Will Hunting where he goes to school. Yeah, it used to be an old school Irish. So that's one thing I've noticed, like traveling the country, is I never knew that until I was about like until I was like in the military did I realize that the rest of the country doesn't have these inner city, not just like inner city poverty, but inner city like ghettos. You know what I mean? Like inner city. Mother, she won. If you see behind me, um, for what she does at work, which is she kind of helps at a like a medical facility, and she got us free dinner over here. And the whole purpose for this video really is just I wanted to run some things by you guys. Um, First of all, I wanted to run by what you guys thought about a video where we can do a call-in. I actually found the wire, I found enough of the wire to be able to bring it somewhere and say, this is the wire I need to get the laptop that I had donated to me and have it hooked up to the TV and go back to the way I used to produce videos with Streamlabs and having all the cool intros and at the time I could have done so much more with it, but at the time I just kind of did an intro and kind of went with it, used some sound effects and use some music, but really take advantage of it. But this is gonna be a quick one because right now I'm just we just ordered, so while she's having a beer, um, I'm just waiting out here, and so she got $100 gift coupon, and this is like a real upscale restaurant here, and this is actually Newton, Massachusetts, which is not one of those towns that used to be a neighborhood and is now rich. It has always been rich and is still rich, and if not richer than ever. So that's where I'm at right now. So I wanted to ask you guys what you thought about a video or a call-in where we talk about um, basically I went over this with somebody and it really resonated, not just with them but with so many different people I speak to just on the street. It's almost like I would say 35 and under, even 40 and under, mostly 35 and under. It's like what this person referred to them as was basement babies, which I thought was like a great catchline. And it's true. And it's not any fault or any disrespect to those people who are in that range. I can see the way that, family members of mine have grown up. And I see that a lot of you guys out there are mothers and fathers. Some of you guys might be sons and daughters. Basically, I would say if you are between the ages of, I'll go as low as 18, but I would say more so from the ages of, after college. So 25 to 35, 25 to 36, something like that. A lot of you guys might be able to relate to how this generation, unlike any other generation in the history of America, has kind of come home. And I mean that literally. They've come home and they live in their parents' basement. And it's convenient. It works. It's where they want to be. I knew when I was in the military, despite everything I was doing and having such opportunities, at the time, I missed home. Now, part of it might be missing home, but the fact that it's happening all over the country, it's not about personal preference. Obviously, with the Obama years, hold on. With the Obama years, it became a lot more easy to kind of do your own thing, start to head on your path and start a family. Let's say at the age of, throwing a number out there, like 32, right? Let's say you're 32 years old, trying to start a family, trying to start your own way. You've already even gotten a degree. Maybe you haven't gotten a degree. But the parents don't seem to understand that this is not their child. This is a systemic problem, and vice versa. The, the children don't seem to understand where the parents are coming from, where at a very early age, they were made to find their own way and to get married. For instance, I'll just take my past from my father's side. From my mother's side, it was a little bit different because grew up in the projects and all that. But on my father's side, they didn't grow up in the projects. Yet at the same time, um, they kind of look at their children and they kind of say, well, what the hell is wrong with them? Why are they still keep coming home? And this is for, like, for instance, my cousin is extremely self-sufficient, went to co-ownership, owned a smoke bar, he owned all kinds of great stuff, yet he always come back to home. And when he does bring a girl, it never results in babies, it never results in all that. Sometimes it does. But in a situation like his, where he's coming from a family that's well established, kind of has backing, he has some money, he drives a nice, beautiful Jaguar, no babies, and I feel like there's a huge disconnect. And there's always a disconnect when you go from generation to generation, especially like generation to skip a generation to that next generation. Like what people would say about like baby boomers and millennials with Gen X in the middle. But let's say baby boomers having millennials as babies. Well, there's faults on both sides. I think that the baby boomers, a lot of them, so concerned about their career. Yeah, I see the same millennials. They're so focused on their career. Some of their children are off the wall. So what I'm getting at is a deeper, how do I put this? Like a deeper, basically just a deeper systemic problem that is from coast to coast, which some people call the coastal elites, which I don't really like that term, because just because you're on the coast does not mean you're elite. Trust me that. You can trust me on that one. Now, living in Boston, yes, there are a lot of elites, but the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, the poor get forgotten about, they end up dying from drugs, because there's also a drug epidemic at the same time. But back to the point. There's a huge disconnect, and I'd love to have a story about this. And I'd love to do this within the next couple of days. The sooner the better. Now, if anybody watching this is interested in either participating and kind of telling their story, whether they are somebody who is under 35 and who almost feels like they have a good way to explain to their parents and other baby boomers or even Gen Xers, depending on the age. But basically, that generational gap. If you think you have a good way of explaining that to them, please email me. You can either email me at the Red Pill News at Yahoo or the Red Pill News at Proton.mail. So please email me on either or better yet, just to save you the trouble, just leave it, because I see more and more parents and they think there's something wrong with their kid. And I think it will be refreshing for them to know it's not your kid. It's kind of what those, in my opinion, what those Obama years did. And it made it kind of easier to survive. You're not going to prosper, but you'll survive. And be able to move forward. And at that age, you feel like there's time. You have time. Although, trust me, guys, I'm mid-30s, and trust me, I remember when I was 21 like it was yesterday. Well, almost like 23 like it was yesterday when I left the military. And I thought it was a me thing. I thought I just missed home. I could have went to the NSA. I could have had a great career. Instead, I came home back to the city, worked for my father until he passed. In the meantime, caught an assault and battery charge, which made my top secret sensitive compartmentalized information with a polygraph clearance go bye-bye. Um, so I just think it's a great idea. It was brought up to me by somebody who I highly respect, and it's something that I think about all the time anyways. So I'm surprised that she brought it up to me. When she brought it up to me, I was like, wow. I was like, to be honest with you, I think about that all the time. There's such a generational gap. So I want to kind of, if I can, bridge the gap, at least for my audience's purposes. And if you'd like to help in doing that, whether it be in calling in or anything like that, please email one of those two emails. And if by now you forgot about it and you're lazy or whatever the case may be, you're busy, just leave a comment. And I'll get in touch with the people who reach out, whether you're a parent or a child. When I say child now, mind you, I'm looking for overweights between 13 and 85 as far as the children go. And I'm looking for, I'd say, like 40 plus for the other, for the other side, the parenting side. And I just think it's something huge going on in this country that you don't hear about. You hear murmurs of it, but you don't hear about it in the news. And it's the biggest change I think this country has ever gone through. There's always a huge change, generation to generation. Kids these days, and parents just don't understand, and all that. I don't think there's ever been such a divide and such a misunderstanding. And I think it would help the parents to know that it has nothing to do with their parenting. It's a systemic, nationwide. It's not about living on the East Coast or the West Coast or living in the middle of the country. And for the kids, you shouldn't feel ashamed. And a lot of you don't. Because I think that you guys kind of understand with technology, there's so much that you can teach your parents. So I kind of was looking to go in that direction. So I want to see what kind of response I get to this. So I'm about to go in, finish dinner with my daughter and her grandmother. Well, step grandmother, we call her grandmother. And I gotta get back in there, but it just keeps going through my mind the last few days ever since I spoke to this one person. And I'd love to get some responses, please, in the comments section, or if you remember those emails. Either works. All right. So, anyways, in the future, when you're looking for Pez, and hopefully, if you're looking for Pez in this situation, you know where to come find it. The Red Pill here at the Red Pill Dispensary. All right. I'll leave you guys with a scenic moment, and we're out.